Mail everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me make sure my volume it's on well. Just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna turn the mic on a lot louder. Yeah, there you go. You should hear me better now. Welcome to another stream tonight. I guess I have to play the music to make it official, so here it goes. Mail everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Welcome. Gonna go right off the bat. Hi Vivian, my intern is here. Thank goodness. And Gary, I'm gonna talk about Galaxy Digital, don't worry. If you usually I start off these shows talk about the macro and all that. I'm gonna skip that today because I already made a video sometime around like Thursday or something like that. When everybody was like just super scared and I was just looking at the indexes, I was like, yeah, everything's I support. All the gaps got filled. I don't really feel like there needs to be any further like bad downsides to go. I mean, obviously it can do whatever it wants to do. It's the market, it doesn't have to listen to me. But basically just looking at a bunch of stuff, I'm just like, the IWM touched the weekly Ichimoku. Let me just go show you a few things here. I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it anyway. On the daily, boring, right? I mean, basically it's just high volume, back test on an arc bounce, closed the gap over here last week. I think that's what it wants to do. QQQ made a little bit of a double bottom over here. Pretty decent volume. IWM on the daily here, basically I'm closing this gap over here from September 2024. On the weekly, it basically just lightly tapped the weekly Ichimoku cloud here. A lot of things are kind of just doing what they're needing to do, even though it can feel extremely bearish. Like if you just look at SPY here, I'm just gonna turn off this thing right there. It's still holding broad support band perfectly fine, right? And it's still hanging around the weekly Ichimoku Tenkan here perfectly fine. Like honestly, there's nothing really is like broken here, even though the sentiment is just extremely, extremely terrible. If you're talking about macro, like the 2-year yield basically got rejected at the weekly Ichimoku cloud. It just wants to go down a lot lower. Hi guys, welcome. Yeah, I'm just gonna start quickly about the macro because I already made a video about it. 10-year broken down, try find support here at the kitchen. But like the 10-year and 2-year has just been going down pretty bad. Like the 2-year has been going down straight like 8 days in a row. 10-year's been going down straight 8 days in a row. People worry about inflation, and then now they're worried about recession. A bunch of noise out there. I don't really care about any of that. All I know is that they're probably going to want to print money based on what I'm looking at. So, ARK Fund, it's not bearish. Basically it's just kind of holding some pretty important support here. It did break down underneath the 0.382 here, but hey, maybe it's a little bit of a false breakout. A lot of demand here, pretty decent volume. I'm just getting bored just listening to myself. So why don't I just start talking about Bitcoin? And then I'll talk about like miners. I'll talk about Ethereum. I think somebody want me to do a little bit deeper dive into Mara, CleanSpark. Got like about 30 different like chart requests to go through. I already made another one earlier. It's like 15 or something like that earlier. So anyway, could go through this real quick. I'm gonna turn off the volume here. What you're really seeing here, I guess I can turn on the volume because it's important to look at. It's a capitulation candle with pretty decent volume. It's not done yet. This is a weekly chart for Bitcoin. It's not going to finish until tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern is when this candle over here closes. When it dipped down underneath the angle, when it dips down underneath the 1.272, everybody was like super scared. Like, no, it's breaking down underneath all your support levels here. Like, oh no, I would not be surprised if we end up closing the week above the Boyan support band. Although I'm not sure if it's going to or not, but if it does that, it'd be extremely bullish. One thing about these liquidity grab, if it doesn't die, if it doesn't just like break down, it doesn't die, it ends up like staying alive and it's leaving a big giant wick down below. That's extremely bullish, right? Same thing happened over here. Same thing happened over here. Same thing happened over here. Same thing happened over here, right? So I don't know whether or not we're going to end up closing about the Boyan support band, but so far at least looking favorable to hold the 1.272. and least favorable looking at holding at this GAN angle over here, right? So yeah, I'm not seeing anything too particularly concerning. Holding the baseline over here, you see a lot of confluence at the angle at the 1.272, and it's also the baseline or kitchen at the weekly Ichimoku, right? If you also not just looking at the weekly, if you look at the monthly here, the Great Masby has already told you that holding the monthly Tenkan here or conversion line over here is extremely bullish, right? When I'm seeing that, I did wonder whether or not Bitcoin is a little bit too far overextended about the Tenkan. The fact that it touched it and didn't die actually makes me feel very, very bullish about Bitcoin. This is like the stepwise thing that you want to see before further bullish continuation. Because if you look at the altcoins, like if I do total 3, this is basically the total cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. It already kind of did that, right? It's not overextended anymore. Touched the Tenkan already. It looks like it wants to keep, going up a lot higher. Others already broke down underneath of both of those. If you look at the cryptocurrency market cap without the top 10, excluding top 10, which include Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that, it already broken down below. And it's unfortunate, right? Bitcoin dominance is still pretty strong. But the fact that it touched the Tenkan here actually makes me very, very bullish. I think that this thing is probably going to end up pushing up about a lot higher over time. And I still find that on the monthly chart here, I still find that we are at a level where we are. I got this. So thank you very much. I think that we are at a level where we just backtest the arc, and it looks like we want to have some further bullish continuation to the upside, right? Every single time we bounce off an arc and you're on the way up to maybe the next horizontal or the next scan arc up here, it happened over and over again, by the way, right? Rejected the arc, broke underneath, broke through the arc, backtest the arc to the next arc, rejected the arc, came back down, pushed through, backtest the arc, backtest the angle, backtest the volume arc, pushed through, got to the next arc, rejected, came back down, pushed through, backtest the arc. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to the arc here or horizontal line here? I don't know. But whenever it breaks through the arc, like whenever it backtest the arc like that, like it did over here, you're going to have a period of consolidation over here, right? Which is where we're at right now. You're going to have a period of consolidation over here, right? Which is where we're at right now. Before big move up, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I'm just a cat. I don't know anything. So, but looking at this is quite favorable. I think Bitcoin could hit 200,000 maybe sometime over the next few months. I think the cycle is also a little bit extended because global liquidity is just now breaking on, just doing its back test. Where's my global liquidity thing? There you go. It's just broken out this horizontal zone. It's just doing a back test, right? It's building up a little bit of energy and trying to push up higher. And I just kind of show you like the 2-year, 10 years, it's just been plummeting, right? Like it leaves a lot of room for world governments, including U.S. government, to print more money, taking song requests. Maybe one day. I do worry about like copyright infringement at some point, but maybe one day, right? So the key thing would be whether or not this is in the same area that we are at over here with consolidation that we did over here, like we did over here. I think so, right? I just think that there's no coincidence. It's not a coincidence that backtest the Tenkan like that perfectly, right? Here, backtest the cloud over here. Here, backtest the Tenkan on the way up. Right. A lot of people worry about whether or not this could be a bearish engulfing candle last month, right? A lot of people worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that so much because if you look at the volume, whoa, this volume, Binance is all funky. Look at the volume. Is a bearish engulfing candle? Sure. It's on low volume. Yeah, who cares? Bearish engulfing candle here on Bitstamp, low volume, right? I don't know what happened to Binance. I think the volume data is just gone. I was just looking at it yesterday. There you are. Low volume, bearish engulfing candle. I don't care. I really don't care. Some people also looking at like RSI. I'm looking at RSI. I'm like, yeah, do you have a little bit of bearish divergence? Sure. Can things go up on bearish divergence a lot higher? Yeah, possibly. Like even here, it made a higher high here in November 2021 with very much of a bearish divergence here, right? So like I'm not that concerned about it. I still think that it's building up a lot more energy to go up a lot higher over time, and I still think that It didn't really show the RSI over here. Do I have a longer? There you go. I still think that, and this is going to show me something extremely funky here, but that's okay. I still think that overall Bitcoin generally touches like the 80s to the 90s RSI zone. It hasn't really done that yet. So whatever it's doing right now is just whatever. It's just consolidating for the next big move. A lot of big money's been accumulating. Very rich and powerful people are accumulating. I think Bitcoin's going to go a lot higher. I don't think it's going to stop at 200,000 now. Initially, I thought it was going to like just end there. If it was like a shortened cycle or whatever, I don't think it's just going to end there now. I actually think it's going to go up a lot higher because of that. Bitcoin dominance, so far, you do end up having a little bit of exhaustive top over here. You do end up having the RSI going down, and this whole Bitcoin dominance thing is going up on bearish divergence here. And I think it's getting tired. It can keep going up higher, and that's fine. That's just going to extend the cycle higher. If you guys don't follow, like, there's a woman called Black Widow. Actually, she's just really good. I had some thoughts about it. I thought that the cycle is probably going to be a little bit long. I don't think the cycle is going to just necessarily end like Q1, like some people say. I think it's probably going to last through like Q3, Q4, if not a little bit longer, depending on what Bitcoin dominance does, right? I mean, right now Bitcoin dominance is just too high. The cycle doesn't end until money usually rotates away from Bitcoin to other things, right? And that usually only happens whenever you have increase in global liquidity, when you have like the money printing thing really starts. So I don't think that phase has really begun yet, which I'm going to use this as a segue to like miners and to Ethereum here, because it's important to kind of put things in context. You look at a weekly, I think it's going to be a lot more telling here. You see how, I'm not even going to draw it, but you see how you have a horizontal resistance zone over here with global liquidity, right? And it broke out over here, and then it back tested. And when after it back tests, after global liquidity makes its next leg up, is when Bitcoin dominance just drops, right? Everything goes and rotates to altcoin at that point, after you have the breakout and back test and a like up run up, right? So I think we're getting close to the point where we're about to have like a run up. Same thing happened last cycle. You have a horizontal zone over here, right? I'm not making this up. Resistance, resistance, resistance of global liquidity. Broke through, back test. What happened? Increased global liquidity. What happened? Bitcoin dominance drops, right? What is happening right now? Resistance zone, resistance zone, resistance zone here for quite some time, right? Breakthrough, right? Breakthrough, back test, right? Maybe we're kind of gearing up for the next look up. I don't know. Oh no, it's crawling down a little bit. What should we do? I mean, it's a higher low type situation. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be just fine. So that's what I'm looking at here. Obviously, Ethereum has been really lagging. It has been extremely painful. Matter of fact, if I look at Ethereum, it actually makes me a little bit more bullish, because I think it's doing the same playbook as it did last time. If you are looking at the monthly chart, it might give you a little bit better idea in terms of what I'm looking at here. I'm going to go to the miners here real quick, so don't worry. Okay, if I'm looking at the Ethereum chart here on the monthly, it looks a very similar structure where you have a high here and a low here, and basically you have like a how do you say that? You have like a little bit of a higher high here compared to that, and you have a little bit of a lower low compared to that. It looks like it's a big liquidity grab, and that happened last cycle before the lick up mooning. I think we're doing the same thing. It's like basically coming back for like the last liquidity grab underneath, which is kind of insane to back test over here with the global liquidity, right? That's the spot that we're talking. And then you have the next leg up where global liquidity just significantly increases. That's when you have Ethereum actually is able to move, right? Where we have right now, we just had a breakout and we just had a back test, right? And throughout the back test, we have another drop right after that, just like what we did over here, right? We have a back test over here. We had a drop over here with COVID. Very, very similar kind of morphology in terms of market structure, things like that. I do wonder if global liquidity, if the world government doesn't end up wanting to print a lot more money, if the yields actually end up mooning, if the US dollar is going to the moon, which I don't think it is, but if US dollar is going to the moon, if President Trump decides that he doesn't want his Bitcoin bags and Ethereum bags to pump, and yeah, I mean, if the powerful and rich folks that have been accumulating Bitcoin for quite some time, accumulating Ethereum for quite some time, decides that they don't want to make money, and if global liquidity ends up plummeting down moving forward, then I'm wrong, right? Then I'm just gonna say, hey, maybe I should just hang up here and just reevaluate my cat live. Good thing I only have as a cat, I only have like 15 years to live anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But so far, it's just been kind of hovering around the zone over here. Like initially, it was kind of holding golden pocket between 0.86 and 0.618. It did end up going down further. Great liquidity here at 0.5. I see this as a bullish thing, but a lot of people may not, and a lot of people think I'm delusional, which is fine. I don't really care. But yeah, that's one thing about Ethereum. I still think that some of the higher targets on Ethereum is entirely possible. I don't think it's going to hit like 80,000. Okay, I think anywhere from like 14,000 to 42,000, 43,000 is possible. Anywhere up and around this range is possible if global liquidity ends up going up, which based on a lot of things I'm seeing, including RWM, including ARK Fund, the fact that ARK Fund is doing really well, including the fact that HBAR is pumping right now and XRP has been doing extremely well. Like XRP is just, it looks like it wants to go up here. I don't even need any like indicator to tell you that it's bullish because it's holding a technical indication like here almost perfectly, right? HBAR is also holding that perfectly. It looks like it wants to make a next lick up. XLM is holding the cloud over here. It looks like it's going to do okay, right? Doge is unfortunately broke underneath the monthly cloud here. Like it does what I don't want it to do, which is to break underneath the weekly cloud. But if you don't use any of the indicators, all it's really doing is just back testing the horizontal zone over here, right? This is a buy zone. This is a buy zone. Like I don't care about the exact numbers and all that. It decided that it wanted to break down underneath the 0.618 here and go to 0.5. Buy zone, right? Fine. You want to sell me cheap dog coins? You want to form a lower, higher low over here? Fine, I'll buy. I don't know. Like I basically, I've been just adding a little tiny bit here. Down here, I added to my Dogecoin position. I increased it by maybe like 10%. Because they gave me an opportunity to do that, which is fine. Like if you, I still think this thing is going to go up a lot higher, right? I still think that $2 and $4 are possible. If that's the case, give me cheaper dog coins. I don't care, right? It is what it is, right? If I look over here, I think it did end up losing the 100-week moving support here. Initially, I thought it was going to be like a perfect oscillation kind of thing, but it did end up losing the 100-week moving average here. That's okay. You're going to end up having these deviations here and there. Like that doesn't really bother me that much. But if you look at the overall picture here, I'm going to delete that because that's no longer valid. If you look at the overall picture here, it's holding a horizontal zone over here after the arc breakout. Right, it didn't really quite backtest the arc here, but it got a very confluent support zone over here. I think the next leg up is going to end up pushing up above somewhere over here, and I don't know where it's going to hit here, but I think it's going to probably like 9 or 10x from here with Shiba. I think Shiba is going to do okay. Solana is actually one that I'm like very, very surprised about, that it just decided like just dip and grab liquidity at 0.5. I guess this is doing the same thing that Ethereum is doing, right? Going back to back test and grab liquidity at 0.5, and that's holding. And it just went inside the Ichimoku cloud a little bit further than I thought it would. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes these things are actually bullish. Do I think Solana is going to end up outperforming everything else? Probably not. A big giant move had already been made from like $7, $8 all the way to 292. I don't know whether or not Solana is going to continue to like outperform, right? ADA continues to look great. Backtest the cloud up here perfectly, right? And if you're turning off the Ichimoku, like it looks like it's holding 0.82 just fine. If 0.82 is holding fine, I think the next move, if it's breaking above the arc here, I think it's going to challenge 0.786. If it breaks through that, then it's probably going to go up to somewhere around here. to end the cycle, and that could be maybe anywhere like a 10x or something like that from there. I continue to hold it. JASMY went down a little bit further than I like it to, but that's okay. Initially, I thought that if it breaks down underneath the angle, there's a potential to go down to like 1.5 cent. It didn't really end up doing that, but that's okay. I still think as long as this hold as like a higher low compared to that, this is still much of a favorable chart. Even if it comes back down to the arc, that's not the end of the world. I started buying JASMY somewhere down here, so I really don't care what it does over this range over here. Ideally, the higher the better, right? But a lot of altcoins just kind of look like this. I'm not really that concerned on a higher time frame because I still think that is trying to use the 20-month moving average to push these kind of coins up over time. You know, Chainlink is doing the same thing. Is trying to use the rising 20-month moving average to kind of push price up. So a lot of these coins, I'm not really that worried about. I do have a position in a lot of them. So let's talk about miners. A lot of y'all ask about miners. So I'm going to go, first off, I'm going to go to CLSK here. Good old Clean Spark broke down my 20-month moving average. Oh no, like I'm so scared. You know, that's just absolutely upsetting, right? I want to say if Bitcoin's going higher, and if IWM is going higher, because it just found the weekly Ichimoku support and just bounced off of it. Let me drink some water here. Sorry. Hey, Low Gains, welcome. Yo, your patch. The longer you stick around, the more pea color your badge is going to become. So welcome everybody to the show. I sincerely thank you because the sentiment has been extremely horrible, and I still get about like 60, 70, 80 people kind of coming in and hanging around with me on like a Saturday night. So I want to thank you all for the support. Like this is real. This is pretty awesome. Luca on X thought that if we make a lower low here, then the whole thesis gets invalidated. To me, I think this is wave one, this is wave two, and we just made an A, B, and C on the wave two, and I think we're getting ready for for the next leg up, especially if Bitcoin is going to end up doing pretty well, right? I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to just like I drew a line. You know, like what chartists do we draw lines, right? You heard me slurping. Only if they stop buying private planes. I thought one is enough. Like I don't know, but if you look at like what are we talking about here, right? Is this like a breakout and then like bump and run kind of thing? It could still be, right? This could still be 1 and 2, right? It could still very well be that, because I actually think that a lot of people think that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is just going to end like right around here. That's a lot of people's counts, right? This actually makes me more bullish. I hate being the cat that keeps telling you that Clean Spark is bullish when it just keeps making levels after levels after levels after levels after levels. They don't pay me anything to shill. Okay, I don't talk to the management. I don't care. I have nothing to gain from Clean Spark going up except that I have a position, not leverage, just stock position. I'm down probably around like I checked. I think I'm down like 30%, right? And I've averaged down. This is where I bought. I bought down here. I bought at the lower part of this range over here. I bought down here, and then I've been buying down here. Right. My average is around 11 and a half, or like maybe high 11, somewhere around there. Right. So that's like buying down here at the bottom of the range here really kills me, right? But I still think it's favorable because, well, until it breaks down. But anyway, overall, I am still a believer in terms of what CleanSpark is doing, because I'm still a believer in a couple of things. One is Bitcoin. I just showed you. I think it's going to go higher. The second thing, IWM. I just showed you. I think it's going to go a lot higher. Third thing, global liquidity. I think it's going to go a lot higher. Fourth thing, I think this is a 1, 2, right? And the fact that it's actually touching and bouncing off the area actually makes me feel better than as if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Or if you're saying this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then that's the ABC, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's subwave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, right? So this is 1, this is 2, right? Anyway, regardless of how you look at it, there's a lot of people are just getting extremely frustrated at this price down here. There's another reason why I'm bullish on it is because CleanSpark has outperformed Bitcoin by a lot, right? When Bitcoin went up 5x, CleanSpark went up like 13, 14x, right? And when Bitcoin went up another, no, actually, like ever since like March 2014, 2024, I think Bitcoin hasn't really done too much, to be completely honest with you. Like it went from 72,000, went to like 86,000, right? If you're talking about CleanSpark, what has it done so far? Where it went down from like 24 all the way down to 8, right? So overall, it still went from the bottom over here to here. It still went about a 4x. When Bitcoin also just went about a 4x, right? Yeah, I think we're at the stage where the euphoria hasn't really started yet. Maybe there's no euphoria. I just think the sentiment is just so absolutely terrible that it says something. Then I think the market maker is doing a bang up job in terms of making people bearish. So I'm not going to say anything else besides that, because everything else that you look at is just it doesn't matter. Like these miners are going to be they have been the hardest thing that I have ever charted. Usually when I look at the chart, I can kind of get an idea in terms of what happens. I think you guys have requested charts before. Kind of I usually get them a little bit more right than I'm wrong, right? There's nothing that's absolute. It's more about a thinking process. Usually I get a little bit more right than I'm wrong, right? With these miners, like it just doesn't like they don't care. I don't care about levels. Okay, on balance volume, you have a bullish divergence that's being built up here, right? Price going down, unbalanced volume going up. You have a lot of these kind of imbalanced volume, where you have all these like red volume over here. Price went down a lot, but the volume actually doesn't really reflect it, right? There's a divergence here. I don't really think that CleanSpark has really had this kind of divergence really much at all. Last time you have a little bit of a hidden bullish divergence when price went up and unbalanced volume went down. You had a big giant pump up, right? Right now you have a pretty decent bullish divergence that's being built up here. I think the next move is going to be up. All right, am I done with CleanSpark? I can talk to you about targets, but like I think it's stupid to talk about targets right now. I'm already getting chewed up by X by just being bullish on CleanSpark. So I'm not like even on YouTube, like a lot of people just leave comments. Not a lot, maybe I see like a couple of them left comments like, oh blah blah blah, you're like you're getting people wrecked, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. I'm trying to look into something that's extremely difficult to look at. And I have gotten it wrong. And I have gotten other things right. I've gotten other things wrong. And I still actually think that this is a pretty favorable setup. Whenever the moves that you make, you always have to make based on the information that's available at hand. And the information that's available at hand to me right now says that I should double down on CleanSpark. So I did. I don't care about what you think. Mara. You want a deep dive on Mara? This whole thing is still like a rectangle, bullish rectangle pattern. Like it hasn't really, to me, it hasn't really broken about the angle, the rectangle, right? Why do I have these kinds of arrows over here? Well, it's because if I look at the weekly, and because if I turn on the unbalanced volume, there's a huge imbalance in terms of volume, right? There is a huge imbalance in terms of volume. Last time when you have price going down and you have unbalanced volume going up, you had that big move that captured a lot of people's imagination, right? Everybody wanted Mara here, Mara over here, right? Where price went up to the 30s. Well, guess what's happening right now? We have the same kind of divergence that's been building up right now, right? Price going down. Actually, I should point that the problem is that became a wick. And technically, you're not supposed to kind of chart the wick. So I'm going to chart from here, from that point, right? Or from maybe like on bounce volume, so maybe from like that point right there to the non-wick, to the candle body. Bullish divergence building up, right? very, very decent demand here. You have the big volume hammer candle here. These are pretty decent bottoms, if you ask me, right? So I'm just seeing things that are being developed here that I think is going to be favorable for the stock moving forward. I can keep talking about like how the technicals are building up here for Mara, but I actually think that it's also just backtesting horizontal zone over here, right? And it's got so much energy that's being built up here. And the question is whether or not this is distribution or reaccumulation. You already know that it's being accumulated. The deposit man had decided that they want your shares. And there are a lot of people that are wondering whether or not institutions are having Mara shares because they want to land it to hedge funds, or they are the hedge funds that they want to short. But like 76% institutional ownership with like 20% like short float or short interest or something like that. Majority of them are just buying and holding. Majority of them are just buying and holding. And this is not because of dilution, by the way, because the institutional accumulation, institutional ownership has bumped from like 40% to 76%. And I've been following that. I don't have much else to say about Mara. I can chart it, but it doesn't really matter. I think the divergence there tells you a lot. I'm going to go through the rest of the miners here. Somebody asked me about WULF. What do I think about WULF? I think WULF is holding support just fine. Initially, I thought I had an arrow there. I haven't even looked at like WULF here for a while. I had an arrow there, and there's another arrow that I can put it there, right? It basically just got rejected here at the angle here, and it came back to backtest arc, holding really well, right? This is basically a break through this arc here and a backtested arc. So it's also hitting the Ichimoku cloud here just fine. I think WULF is going to do okay. I think it's going through like what all the amount of miners are going through right now. And I don't think it's going to be anything too scary here. Now, I don't really have like the divergences that I was seeing on the other stuff. I don't really see it that obvious here on the weekly, but on the daily, you can see the same thing, right? I'll turn this off here. On daily, you can see the same thing. Price, even up here, price plummeted on balance volume up, right? Shady as hell. Shady as hell. Anyway, yeah, whenever you have these like bullish divergences building up, it just kind of catches my eye. And you have a bunch of volume that are coming up here too, which makes me think that I think a trend reversal could be just right around the corner. Let's talk about what hurts you the most. What hurts you the most in live? Is it copperheads? Is it Mercury? Is it being forced to listen to Kenny G in the 90s? Or getting a Creed song stuck in your head? Or is it Bitfarms? I think some would argue that it's Bitfarms. It broke below this arc over here and it grabbed liquidity down here at that horizontal line right there. Why? When Cat doesn't like GIFs? What? Is it a question or is it a statement, maybe? Low gains, yeah. I'm so happy for your RKLB badge. That's awesome. At what price target would I exit CleanSpark? Anyway, let me finish Bitfarms there and go back to CleanSpark here a little bit. I don't know. I've just been buying based on my theory. I think if I'm right, if wave 1 and 2, and if we're getting close to the end of wave 2, I'll go to it right now. This is like the end of wave 2. Then wave 3 could be coming, and I really don't know how high wave 3 is going to be. I think wave 3 is going to at least break the Ichimoku cloud, and it can. I don't know how high it's going to go. Honestly, I don't know how high it's going to go. Because it's built up a lot of energy here with wave 2. So I'm gonna have to monitor the trend right now. There's not really anything I can monitor. I just want to see it breaking through, and then we'll talk about targets from there, right? It also depends on Bitcoin. I'm gonna look at what Bitcoin does. I'm gonna look at what IWM does. Bitcoin, there's a lot of topping indicators that can be looked at. Like I can look at Bitcoin Bollinger Band. I can look at Bitcoin like Pi cycle indicator. I look at the MVRVC score. I look at a lot of things with Bitcoin, right? So, but with CleanSpark, I don't have much area that I can. I'll try. Like whenever it takes off, I'm gonna do like GAN. I'm gonna do like fit levels. I'm gonna do all that. It hasn't even taken off yet, so like I think it's a little bit of a moot point. I just want to be directionally correct right now. Going back to things that hurt you, Bitfarms backtest the horizontal GAN level over here, holding it. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's just want to backtest this level over here. Maybe, right? Should you be worried over here? Like, were you worried over here? It looks like a fractal here, right? Like things just wherever it started, IPO is just plummeted down. And whenever everything else started pumping in like November, not CleanSpark, Bitfarm just kind of make like a little bit of a low high here, and then it's just caught up in inventions in December, right? So it's whatever. It's being shorted. It's being unfavorable. It's still being accumulated by institution like Bitfarms. Even Bitfarms, like they buy Bitfarms. Do I think they all buy Bitfarms to like short it? Probably not. But they're buying Bitfarms. Initially, there's a little bit of decline here, but they're picking up here again. Yeah, so things that hurt you. I still think it's going to do like okay this cycle. I just don't know. It's probably going to be a major laggard, so I haven't really been adding to Bitfarms. CIFR, where's it doing? Come back to this arc over here. I didn't change the arc here at all. I just decided to come back here. It got closed at 0.618. Couldn't even touch it. Maybe next week or the week after, maybe it touches it. I don't know, but looks like it's holding the arc up here just fine. We need to break above the 0.786 here. We just haven't really been able to do that. Down here, grab liquidity, right? Down here, a higher low. So I think we'll probably re-challenge the 0.786 here. I can keep going. I don't really like CORZ that much, but even CORZ is looking okay. Just back testing the arc down here. It's underneath the 2.618, so it probably needs some kind of repair. RIOT just got rejected the arc up here, forming a little bit of an inverted head and shoulder to me. I think it's actually just keep on consolidating. So I'm not getting into RIOT, but I think it's a very, very similar idea. I actually think that RIOT is going to do just fine moving forward. HUD has been outperforming a lot of the other ones. I don't think my GAN here is actually showing that much market symmetry. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. Yeah. Don't infect me with virus, please. Anyway, I don't think my GAN here is showing me that much market symmetry here, so I'm just going to delete that right there. And right now, even my FIP levels here are not. Yeah, even my FIP levels here are not that great. I think that is probably hitting some of the lower FIP levels here on the linear. Yeah, there you go. That's what's happening, 0.136. 0.136. Yeah, it's not a bad look, right? Going back to RIOT, I don't think it has to go down that much further anymore. And then going back to CORZ, you guys were mentioning about the ABC kind of move. Yeah, it's extremely brutal. You know what I find to be a very favorable setup? I actually love the BTDR chart. The BTDR chart is amazing. Look at this big giant wick down below. Look at this stuff. How do you know I don't mean it when I said don't stop? Is it because I talk like this when I say don't stop? Like, don't stop. Stop. Wait, stop. Wait, don't stop. Wait. Anyway, if you're looking at the FIP sequence here, something amazing is happening to BitD. It hit the 2 FIP level here, and then it decided to just plummet and scare everybody and just came back down and back test the breakout zone over here at the 0.786. Grab liquidity down even further at the 0.618 and 0.5, got close to it. Couldn't really quite get there, right? The entire move on the way up here that was very, very, very bullish during the Trump pump has been undone, right? You still have a gap down here. It didn't fill. It didn't end up, filling. But this is an amazing setup. Like, what the heck is this? right? If you would have bought up here, you would have kind of given to the trend here. I think you would have been very, very sad. But like, there's not much really bearish about this. If you're looking at the monthly, you look at the monthly and you look at the Bollinger Band, it basically just trying to open up the Bollinger Band here and came back tested 20-month moving average and held, right? Big volume push up, declining volume push down back test, found support. Man, what are we talking about here? Well, look at another thing here. BitDR, right? I was telling you about the 0.786, right? And it didn't really quite touch the 0.5. Why is that? Because it touched the top of the Ichimoku cloud here on the weekly perfectly on huge volume, huge demand. Somebody was waiting down here at the cloud, and they just bought a whole lot of it. So I'm not shilling BitDR. I'm not buying any of it. I have enough like miners. I don't want to start a BitDR position, but like this is crazy. Like, how can I be bearish on the miners? Anyway, I know how I can be bearish on the miners because they've done nothing, and I'm down like 30% on CleanSpark. I'm down like 35% on Mara. Bitfarm has just been extremely excruciating. I'm break even with CIFR. I'm in profits with Iron, in profits with WULF. I'm down a little bit on BTBT. Oh yeah, speaking of which, BTBT, where are you? BTBT. I'm just gonna type it. Talking about BTBT. Yeah, forget about all this, right? I show you about a CleanSpark. I show you that a CleanSpark had a trend line. BitDR has the same trend line, right? Like, you can't make this up. Ah, what is CLS? Stop it. CLSK. Right? You have the trend line over here with a back test. Ah, close enough. I'm probably messing up somehow. I don't know. There you go. There you go. Right. This is CleanSpark. This is BTBT. All right, I'm done talking about miners. I think I'm done saying my case. There are a bunch of chart requests. Let me see if there's anybody who made chart requests here. Yomete Kudasai. I'm having fun. I hope you all are. And the fact that I have like 77 live people on right now listen to me yapping about miners at this stage of the market, I commend you all, and I clap. Okay, clap. I have a lot of other chart requests to go through. I think I'm going to try to knock them up before my break time, and then after that, we're done. I think I might close shop early if I don't have any additional chart requests here, because a lot of you have already asked. Somebody asked, Gann Square almost always use monthly first, but for lower time frame, do you tend to add weekly, daily, 4 hour? You can do it at any time frame, as long as you can find good symmetry. I think you can do it any time frame. I do it on mostly monthly and weekly, but sometimes I don't find like good market symmetry. Sometimes I use daily, and I use like a set numbers to try to see if I can find a good symmetry. The great Masby like to use 4 hour as well. You can really, it's like a cat. You can skin it in many different ways. Stop! Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't skin me. Anyway, GME. What do I think? Well, you don't really need a whole lot of thing here. They're really, if you just look over here, turn on the log over here. If you just look at GME, the price right here, you can see we're at a very important level. You can see how we pushed through and broke down underneath that level. Back tested, got rejected, pushed through finally, and then we're back testing that level again. That's all I have to say about this. I mean, I don't, right, beyond that, it's all crap, right? Like, I don't need to know what to say. Like, the volume is crap. Whenever it goes up, there's increased volume. Whenever it goes down, there's declining volume. I can say that, right? I can even pick up some unbalanced volume discrepancies here, because if I just pull up the unbalanced volume, you can see how over the last couple of months or so, you can see how price had dropped. The unbalanced volume has gone up. Somebody's buying. Who's buying? Is it retail who's buying? Or is it institutions who's buying? I don't know. I don't know. I think that GME is going to do just fine. I still think that the 20-month moving average is a little bit flat, but still, somewhat positive sloping. I think this whole sideways action over here is really kind of throwing the initial bullish band expansion off. But I still think that it's not going to take too much for bullish band expansion to happen. This downtrend over the last couple of months, look at the volume. I'm going to say the worst Spanish I can say here. Dante está el volume. Like, where's the volume? There is no volume. And we're already back tested 20-month moving average. I don't think I have to go back down there again, right? That's it. If I didn't have a position in GME, I would add more. If I do, then then I'm okay with what I have. I think I already added enough. It's holding a 0.136 fit level here perfectly, just fine. Like, you can see this is the level. If you're looking at the weekly, this is the level. This is the level, right? Rejection, 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 support, support. Resistance flipping and support is not a better thing. If I do a log scale, yeah, it broke down underneath the 0.382, but it's not as, it didn't touch as many points as the linear 0.136, right? So I don't have anything else to say about GME. I have higher targets, but let's not worry about that yet. One more thing I'll say about GME, I'm done talking about GME, is that you still have all these candles over here. It's still an inside candle to this big giant green candle here in January 2021. And the primary trend is still up. So whenever it's done consolidating, it's going to do its thing. All right, Rocket Lab. What do I think? I think Rocket Lab is doing just fine. You have to come back and touch the tank in the kitchen here at some point on the monthly. You can't just sustain up there without backtesting it. That's what Bitcoin just did, right? That's what Bitcoin, literally, that's what Bitcoin just did, right? So Rocket Lab is doing the same thing. And we are going to start out the month of March with Rocket Lab not being overextended. And this backtest here was not on huge volume. I actually find this setup to be quite favorable. I don't think it has to come back all the way down to touch the 20-month moving average. I think it's going to do just fine. A little bit way above the Ichimoku. It's hard when it comes to these kinds of charts. Like, how low does it have to go? Does it have to go down to a certain level and backtest before you go up again? Like, how low is it going to go? Nobody knows, right? It already backtested 0.786. If I do this in a log scale, it didn't even get to 0.786, right? But if you do a linear, already backtested 0.76. Got rejected here at 1.236, right? Or if you do linear scale, it got rejected at 1.618. These are very, very normal things to happen. Rejection at 1.618, backtested at 0.786. Very, very normal things to happen, actually, right? So why are you scared about it? I'm not, right? It broke down underneath the support band. Oh no, are you scared? That's what Bitcoin just did. That's what Bitcoin is doing. It broke down underneath the support band, right? So I think these things are all going to end up tying to the same liquidity source. And they're all kind of going through very, very, very similar technicals, if you will. So I think that backtest on 0.786 is good enough. It even went a little bit beyond that because it wants to grab liquidity over here too, right? Because you have these wicks up here, basically just counter back testing these wicks up here. I think Rocket Lab's going to do fine. The fact that you have a big giant wick up here on last week actually makes me feel more bullish about it, because the back test of the monthly technical kitchen is warranted before further bullish continuation. So that's what I think about Rocket Lab. It's consolidated sideways over for 3 months. I think it's good enough. Bull in Japan. Bull in Japan. How are we doing here? Curling up, I bet. But it's still all the way down. It's actually just flat. This is still very much of a very nice bull trend. And I think it's going to have some bullish continuation here moving forward. I don't know how long it's going to consolidate sideways, but the fact that it touched the monthly Tenkan Kijun actually is a promising thing. On the Katana, on the expansion of the Tenkan Kijun apart from one another, this is going to do just fine. Lemonade, another pretty bullish chart actually, broke through, couldn't really quite touch the monthly Ichimoku, came back down, back to Tenkan Kijun, holding, right? Holding them just fine. Got back inside of the Bollinger Band. The low Bollinger Band is still expanding. This is a bull trend. I want to buy this. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I want to buy this. It's on my watch list. I want to buy it. I just don't have enough money to buy everything. Holding the 0.382 here, back test the level over here. Does it have to come back down and lower to like back test some of the other stuff down here? I don't think it has to. I think that this is a pretty decent setup. To be honest with you, I like it, and I just can't buy everything. Right, holding below support band here above the 0.382. This is going to do just fine. To me, it's a buy zone. If it goes down lower, that's a buy zone. Not goodbye, like double buy zone. Crap! I forgot about GLXY. I said I was going to do GLXY. I forgot about it. Let's go back to it. And I think it's very important to realize one thing, that this is a very bullish chart. I think that price just been going up on bearish divergence for a very long time. It just needed to cool off, and that's what it's doing right now. It's building up some hidden bullish divergence now. Last week, it's got a pretty decent wick over here. It got rejected at 0.86, which happens during bull market, and it's just basically coming back down to try to find support level. If you're looking at the linear, it got rejected at the 0.618 here. Then it coming back down, back test this horizontal breakout level, and back test 0.382. These are very, very clear Fibonacci levels. They're very important, and it's just going through its motion to do what it needs to do before it goes higher. I am also going to pull up the Bollinger Band here. You do end up having a little bit of Bollinger Band contraction because things have gone nowhere for the last couple of months, but it's making higher highs and higher lows. Matter of fact, you haven't really had that full like crazy expansion yet. If Bitcoin does well, and if global liquidity increases, some of the higher targets up here is possible. I'm just gonna leave it as that. I can use the monthly Ichimoku here too. It basically broke through, and it's you know, you would think that the cloud over here could have been a support level. It did break down back into the cloud and was holding the baseline over here underneath the top of the cloud and the Tenkan over here, but it did come back and touch the Kijun or baseline, right? Forming a higher low. And I think this is going to do fine moving forward. I do think this is going to do fine moving forward. And I'm looking at RSI here. Yeah, I'm not seeing any like bearish divergence here on the monthly, which is what matters the most. Whew. Pins. Interesting chart. I haven't looked at pins for a long time. I don't know why I drew these arrows over here. Let's put it at Ichimoku. That's why I drew the arrow over there, because it got rejected here on a monthly Ichimoku. But it's reclaiming the Tenkan and Kijun to close the month. It's probably going to try again next month. Was it on high volume? Sorry, was it on high volume? It's on increasing volume, promising. We'll see what we break through. I like the look of it. You look at a Bollinger Band. it hasn't even really like expanded. It's holding the 20-month moving average just fine. It broke down underneath of it. Well, no, but it broke back above, really trying to get to the upper Bollinger Band here. This is still, as far as I'm concerned, like if you think this is like a lower low compared to that, I still think this is more just an uptrend here. This is the higher low compared to that. Sometimes when you're hitting some, I'm going to draw this here. Sometimes when you're hitting some important FIB level, I think this is log. If I do linear, actually it gives me some pretty good symmetry. Sometimes when you're hitting some important FIB level, like the 0.382 here on linear, for the first time you get rejected. And you're trying to come back down here, you're trying to, back test some things. You try to build up more energy and break back through above this FIB level here. 0.236 was able to break above of it. But right now you have like other resistance levels here that it needs to break above. I think it's just going to consolidate sideways over here until it breaks the Ichimoku cloud on a monthly, re-challenges 0.382, and then we can talk about higher levels, right? Let's hope this is not a lower high. But again, if you're into elite waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A, B, I don't even know where ABC is. It's not really like, I think this whole thing right here is wave 2, I guess. Anyway, that's the gist of it. I think it's going to do okay as long as it continues to hold the 20-month moving average, and it's been holding. So I'm just gonna I'm not gonna buy it because I don't see that impulse for me to really believe that. I still want to see, for the most part, higher highs and higher lows for me to really want to get into something like this. But it broke above the 20-month moving average. It broke above the 0.236. I'm favorable at this chart. It's at resistance, so I won't buy it. ALAB, Astera Labs. This thing hasn't been around for that long, so I don't really have a whole lot to chart here. All I can really say is just kind of back testing a horizontal breakout zone over here, and you have these red candles over here. You have these bearish candles over here on pre-decent high volume. So I'm not sure if it's done yet. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's done with its downtrend yet. But if you look at the FIB level, it did got above the 1.618, and all it is doing right now is getting back to the 0.618. It's still in the golden pocket. So actually, it's not a bad chart. I just wish that the volume is declining, but it's not. So I can't guarantee that the 0.618 is going to hold. Right. I don't have much else to say about it. It's, if I put Ichimoku, it's not going to show anything. Tsubishi is not going to show anything. Bollinger Band is not going to show anything. See, well, you see, it can, because of the high volume here, it is at risk. It is at risk to come back to 0.382 to the low Bollinger Band here on the weekly. It is at risk to do that. Does it have to? No, because it's holding a level, right? One level at a time, but it's at risk to come back to the low Bollinger Band. Because sometimes when things break underneath the 20-week moving average, it tends to, like, if it breaks above the 20-week moving average, it tends to want to gravitate up to the upper Bollinger Band. If it breaks underneath the 20, it tends to gravitate to the lower Bollinger Band. So that's still a possibility. I would not want to be in this because I don't really care to try to catch this knife over here. But if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of thing, then maybe this is the wave to the catch. I don't know, but I just don't know enough about what they do. I just don't know whether or not they're going to get the same benefit from the liquidity cycle that the rest of the stocks I'm looking at would probably end up getting. And there are better charts than this out there. If there were more history here, then I would have been a lot more confident that 0.618 is holding. I don't like the volume. All right, let me take a sip of water here. Okay, I'm back. Siddle, thanks for the engaging conversation, Vivian. Thank you for the engaging conversation here as well. Yeah, I think you mentioned that Galaxy Digital is not really like a miner anymore, and that could actually be a really good play. I mean, I don't know, the chart looks pretty decent. I just don't really want to like allocate any more funding into these kinds of plays anymore. I like Coinbase more, based on like what my suspicion is, but who knows? But Coinbase chart is nowhere near as bullish as GLXY. So DDOG is it's okay. I think DDOG is okay. It did kind of do a little bit more than I thought it would. Initially, I thought it was going to be a little bit of rising three methods kind of thing. It's just going to end up maybe holding 0.5, holding this horizontal zone over here, and it just push up. No, it decided to come back and grab liquidity all the way down to 0.382. Decided to break down and close underneath the 20-month moving average. Decided to do that on high volume, right? Woo! What do you say to that? Well, I think what you say is a higher high and higher low. And the higher low just got lower than I thought it would. But was it though? Man, yeah, it's a little bit too busy. I'm gonna turn that off. But was it though? It did end up touching the bottom of this immature cloud here, leading span A. This is what the green line is. The cloud's not formed yet, and the green line here is leading span A, and it basically just touched it. It touched it. Did it just touch it perfectly? Did it touch it to the cent here? I'm going to zoom in. Did it touch it to this? Wow. I don't think I can zoom in anymore, but it looks like the touch is really, really beautiful, doesn't it? And then it ended up closing the month above the baseline or the kitchen, right? Was that a good zone to buy? Probably. Because it is higher, high, high, low. It is a bull trend. Decided to come back, grab liquidity, went all the way down to the monthly Ichimoku cloud, leading span A. I like technical analysis because of stuff like that. So would it go down further? Probably not. You have a big demand zone over here. You see these wicks down here. These you have two dragonfly candles over here on the monthly. So I'm going to break down underneath of that probably, right? Yeah, so I think that it probably had bottomed, and if it has, if it came back to 0.382 after it got rejected at 0.786, then it's probably going to go back up here at 0.627, 0.786. Let's see if it can reclaim that area here. Maybe consolidate sideways here a little bit more and then break out. But that probably was a good area to buy. You guys talked about XYZ. State Street U system for crypto-related ventures. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to know. The Galaxy chart actually looks really good. Why do I have an arrow over here? What's the purpose of that? You already broke underneath my Tenkan and Kijun. You already broke underneath my 20-month moving average. Let's look at a weekly here. Let's do a weekly and pull out the Ichimoku cloud and see why. That's why. Because it's basically breaking down and backtest the weekly Ichimoku cloud. Breakout, backtest the support, resistance, support. Not a bad thing. Big volume capitulation. Not a bad thing. Pretty decent risk reward ratio here, if you ask me. Obviously, lost the Bollinger support band. When it lost it, it just went and plummeted all the way down, right? You look at the Bollinger band, it's basically just touching the bottom part of the Bollinger band. Like all these price action makes complete sense to me. It is unfortunate. It is very unfortunate because it looked like it wanted to push through the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. It couldn't. And there was a good chance it was going to. Maybe this was just a backtest of this horizontal breakout zone over here. But it decided to kind of break down underneath of it. I don't have a position in XYZ. And this is just absolutely brutal. But I guess once you're able, like when I mentioned this, I thought it was going to break through like on the third candle over here. It didn't, right? So I didn't pull the trigger to buy more because it's at resistance and it's just plummeted down. Is this a good zone to buy? I don't know. I can draw lines, I guess. You know, if you look at, I guess this is a pretty good trend line over here, right? Touch enough points, yeah. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Could it go lower? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It can always go lower, but I think it touches enough points over here. On the weekly, I think it's gonna be better. Yeah, it touches enough points over here. I guess that's what it's trying to do on Ichimoku cloud. It's not a bad spot to buy. Looking at the FIB levels here, got rejected here, 0.236. The entire horizontal zone over here is closer to the lock FIB in 0.382. Broke down underneath of it, so where did it go? 0.236. Technical analysis works. Where's it going to go now? Well, it needs to break about the 0.382 over here to get the 0.618, which I actually think that's going to happen this year. I actually think it's going to end up maybe challenging the cloud here at least, because it's just been consolidating sideways here for so long, and it's finding some decent support here. And I think it's probably going to end up pushing up to the cloud here, maybe sometime 2025, maybe early 2026. 0.618 may be a little bit too far. Initially, I had a chance. It blew it. But I think where is that right now is like very, very much de-risk. I think it's actually a pretty good entry zone here. So, woo. Peter, welcome, Peter. Malcolm, Mali. You like I swear I was posting like a post to ask for chart requests around noon or 1 Eastern time, and then like within 4 hours I got like 40 or 50 chart requests. So yeah, I think XYZ is going to be doing okay, Peter. It's just going to end up not being as explosive as quick, but it's building up a lot of energy. I don't know. I'm lucky because I'm in like 4 fintechs. Well, technically we count Shopify as a fintech, but I'm in like Affirm, SOFI, and Hood. They've all been doing pretty well, so I'm lucky. Mali. What do I think about Mali? Why do I have these arrows here? Well, if you look over at the Ichimoku cloud, it's very, very simple in terms of what's been happening. You basically have a chart that has gone way, plummeted all the way down. Test the Ichimoku cloud, bounced right at the top of the Ichimoku cloud. It decided to go up a lot higher. It's a bullish chart. It's got some horizontal resistance zone over here that I couldn't break through. I wonder what it is. Let's find it. I guess I'm not going to be able to find it on the log. Turn off the Ichimoku here. Do I see anything on the linear? Yeah. I guess it got rejected at 1.236 here, and it came back down. And it's just have a hard time breaking this horizontal zone. It's probably some kind of cannon level. I'm too lazy to draw a cannon today. But it's been forming higher highs and higher lows. There's really not much to be concerned about it. I guess it was trying to break out on like bearish divergence. Maybe that's why it just couldn't go that much higher. But I think it's okay. I think it's going to keep forming higher highs and higher lows. It just needs to kind of cool off here, maybe a little bit sideways here, kind of cool off the RSI bearish divergence here. We'll see, but it's not a bad looking chart. On the weekly here, what's it been doing? Well, it's been going up on bearish divergence. I guess that's why I need to cool down. That's why I got rejected here, 1.236. But again, higher highs and higher lows. I don't know how low higher low is going to get. I think the previous all-time high over here is going to be pretty decent support. I don't think it has to go to 0.86, but it could, right? On the weekly Ichimoku, yeah, I guess it can go down to 0.86 and just backtest it a little bit before for a bullish continuation. But the previous all-time high also got the Tenkan Kitchen over here, just holding pretty well. It also, let's see here, it's also got some 20-week moving average over here. It's going to serve as some pretty decent support, so it needed. If I look at the whole monthly kind of thing, like I don't have the low Bollinger Band expansion. This thing is just kind of going up. I think it's going to keep on going up because the upper Bollinger Band is expanding. And it's just simply way outside the upper Bollinger Band. It just couldn't break out that much higher. This thing is going to probably get up to like 1.618 here eventually. I think it's going to happen. And that's linear, right? Log, I think it's going to get up here. Maybe the 1.4 and 4. I think that's possible too. because it's already broken above the golden pocket here. It's already tested between 0.76 0.86, already broke about that back test that zone. It looks like it wants to go higher. And it's already broken about like all these like Ichimoku stuff. So I don't, it's not overextended. This is a bullish chart. If you want a DCA, it's a good one. A couple of you asked about Big Bear AI. Is it really Big Bear AI? I actually like the chart, and I wouldn't buy up here, because why would one want to buy when things are way outside the upper Bollinger Band? That's risky. When things are way outside upper Bollinger Band and trying to pierce like a FIB level like 0.76, you're not going to pass through. Even trying to reach like 0.86, you're not going to pass through. That's just not going to happen. Let's look at weekly here. What are we doing here on a weekly? It gives you a very different look here, doesn't it? I'm going to turn off the Bollinger Band here. Yeah, I think Mara's going to do fine. SL, you got MTPLF. I'm going to add that to the list here. I got quite a few more to go before I end the show. I'm going to try to do that without a break and see if I can do it that way. But this looks like a breakout of this double bottom in the back test, right? The only thing I don't like about it is I do like about it. Like the only thing I think is it could go down to 0.618, which is 4.3. I think it could go down. Who knows how low it can go on low volume. It can keep going down a lot lower on low volume. I don't think it has to back test the cloud here, because you already did that when it broke through, right? But I think it's possible it goes down to 0.618. If it goes down to 0.618, the bull support band is right there. So it's going to be a pretty nice confluent zone of support. 0.618, break out of this double bottom at back test, bull support band. That's where I think it's going to go. So I think you're entering a pretty decent buy zone. Okay. That's all I have to say. I mean, like, if it was able to find support at 0.618, then it's going a lot higher, because that would be a higher low. And I'm assuming volume is going to come back and it's going to push this thing a lot higher, because the monthly overall actually looks great, because the lower Bollinger Band is all the way down. This is a very, very explosive uptrend. It's just simply a little bit way overextended above itself. It's a good chart. Grab. Bullish, right? Same thing. Bollinger Band expansion to the upside to the downside. 21 moving average going up. I think this thing over here will need a log scale FIB level here to tell you what's going on. Try to break about the 0.382. Couldn't yet. Wait for Bollinger Band expansion to happen before doing so. Not a bad chart, right? Bollinger Band expansion on the monthly is not a bad thing. On the weekly, find support here at the rising 20-week moving average, aka the Bollinger support band. Stuck in a range right now between 0.382 and a Bollinger support band. Is it going to breaking down to the lower Bollinger Band here? Possible, right? Is it going to break down even lower to 0.236? Possible. Those are the downside risks, but I don't care. I'm going to DCA into this thing because I see a bullish trend being developing here. It could go down and be in like backtest whatever it wants to backtest, and it doesn't have to. I hated having to buy like resistance here, so I waited for price to kind of plummeting down to like the 4.4 or 4.5 zone to start a position. So I have a small position, right? Because I don't know if it's going to break down underneath the Tenkan. I don't know if it's going to break down underneath the blue line over here. It's stuck in a range. That's all I have to say. So we'll see. But like to me, there's no doubt that this is a bull trend. Yeah, I don't have much. You want to talk about higher targets? I think it's too early to talk about it. FUBO. Another thing about FUBO. I think FUBO is finally becoming human again, because initially I thought it was superhuman. Initially, it was just kind of holding like the monthly Tenkan up here, but now it decided to drop and back test a 0.236 here. Now you got something interesting. Now you finally have that capitulation that's happening here a little bit that's been lagging. It broke through the weekly cloud. It has yet to backtest the weekly cloud. It couldn't even touch the cloud. It found demand right at 0.236, right? It couldn't even touch the gap. This is how bullish this thing is, right? Higher highs, higher lows. It couldn't even close the gap, first of all, right? The gap's all the way down here. It couldn't even close the gap. If it ended up not closing the gap, this thing's going a lot higher. I think $3 is sure as heck a lot better than buying at 6, right? And whenever this thing was kind of like moonshotting initially, went way over like to like 6.6. I was like, I wouldn't buy there. If you buy, then yeah, that if you buy that, then you're punishing yourself, right? But this is a bull trend. Like there's no doubt bull in Japan expansion happening here a little bit. 20-month moving average curve from negative sloping to positive sloping for resistance here, potentially to support. Does it have to come back all the way down to 2.14 here? Some folks decided that it shouldn't. Some people end up buying there at the 0.236. Some people end up buying there at the 20-week moving average. There's just so much support zone over here. Like we're on support band, 20-week moving average, 0.236, and the Ichimoku cloud, right? That was like a complete zone that screams like buy. So now that we back tested it, maybe the closer we get to that zone over here is going to be a good buy. Can it break down further and go lower? Sure, it can. But it's the risk reward ratio is skewed towards reward here, as opposed to earlier. Like I was watching this thing, I couldn't buy here. I missed a chance to buy down here, right? But I don't know. Like I'm not gonna be like rushing in because sometimes it can end up coming back down and feel the wick here with a candlestick. You know, we'll see whether or not it does that. But this is not a bearish chart here by any means. SOFI. Hi, Jen. Zupcat, you're interested in Compass Inc., aka Comp. I'm gonna add that towards the end of the show here. So you guys know where I'm at the show. I've got SOFI, OSCR, FTAI, MTPLF, and COMP. And I'm going to end the show. What is SOFI doing? I got a really busy chart. I need to like clean things up here. Well, so SOFI is a pretty straightforward story. Trying to break above this bear market trend line here. Reject it here for a long time. Finally was able to gain some momentum, get some volume here. Push through, back test, false breakdown. Ended up holding, ended up getting close to this angle over here at a 45-degree. Ended up pushing up. Didn't care about these arcs up here. Push through this arc up here. Back test the arc. Try to push through. The whole trend got exhausted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Maybe it's having a little bit of wave 2 over here. This is wave 1. No, actually, I shouldn't say that. 1, 2. Wave 3. How do you say it? Sub 1 of 3. Right? Wave 3 is going to keep going probably. And this is maybe this mess over here. This might be like the wave 5 sub 1 of wave 3 or whatever. I'm just getting confusing here. Doesn't matter. It's exhausted. Need to cool down. Decided to touch the bottom of my arc over here and found support. So pretty decent volume here too. Pretty decent. How do you say it? Pretty decent demand. I'm not worried about this. I think it's going to go up a lot higher. It's building of energy over here. Cooling down for about 3-4 months here is absolutely necessary. If you're worried about this being a diamond top over here, I don't know what to tell you because diamond top can also be diamond continuation pattern. They're the same thing. You're guessing if you're calling a diamond top because the cycle doesn't look over. Because the cycle looks like it's just getting started. Because the monthly Bollinger Band looks like it's just still kind of expanding and just simply way outside the upper Bollinger Band here. So what do you have? You have a rising 3 kind of thing building up here. What I mean by rising 3, technically this is not bullshit. Like this is not engulfing this candle. It's a little bit higher than that. But you have a big green candle over here. You have 3 months of going, letting the bears do whatever they want to do. Bulls are taking a break. They basically, the bulls basically just like hibernating. They're like, oh, okay, I pushed price all the way up here for a higher high. I'm gonna go back to my cave, and I'm gonna actually only bears have caves, but I don't know. I'm gonna go back to my field. I'm gonna eat some grass. I don't make milk because I'm bulls, but I'm basically just gonna like rest, right? And the bears came out from hibernation. What did they do? Like they hibernated terribly because they didn't get enough rest. They don't have any energy to kind of push against the bull energy. You give them 3 months to do it. They're not able to do it. What are the bulls going to do next? The bull's going to wake up, right? A bull's going to wake up like next month, the month after that, or the month after that. I don't know. All I know is that right now the chart right here favors the bulls, which is why they call it a bull flag. And if you're talking about like higher levels, I guess I can talk about higher levels, but it's kind of a little bit pointless to do that right now. Oops. I do think that at some point, I do think that it's going to hit like 28 to 30 in the year of 2025. I do think that, oh yeah, look how beautiful it is, right? Back test of 0.618 here at the bottom of the arc here. So it's going to end up challenging 0.786 here again. Maybe it ends up consolidating down here, and I don't know. But, you know, everything's possible. But I think it's going to end up challenging with 0.786 here again. $18, right? Ultimately, I think it's going to. I really do think the year 2025, there's a possibility that it hit a previous all-time high here. I think it's possible. If it doesn't, maybe sometime 2026. Maybe sometime like late 2026, maybe at the arc up here. If it decided to go like this, whatever it wants to go. I'm favorable here on SOFI. If you're wondering about liquidity cycle, whether or not like recession and all that stuff, banks were failing down here, and right now you worry about recession. Like, I was buying down here when banks were failing. Now you're worried about recession when they've been talking about recessions during the entire time on the way up. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm done talking about SoFi. OSCR Health is stuck in the golden pocket between 0.618 and 0.786. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. I think that is stuck in a range over here, even literally, even on the Tenkan cushion here on the monthly Ichimoku cloud. You're pulling up the weekly Ichimoku cloud, also stuck in a range. It's just stuck inside a cloud, right? When things are stuck in a range, I don't know what they'll do. They can break down or they can break up. If you ask me which way it's going to go, I'm going to say up because it's holding 20-month moving average here just fine, right? So I think that is flattening, but it's holding it just fine. I think it's going to end up using this to kind of challenge 0.786 here again. Now, if it couldn't break through 0.786, then you're in trouble, right? But I favor the bulls right now on OSCR Health. If it breaks above 0.786, possible all-time high stuff can happen. But right now, we're having a hard time doing it, which is why we're not breaking above the 0.76 because that would be too soon. Because you already have a big giant move from like $4 all the way to like $23 here in like about a year, right? And you're just simply cooling off over here. It might cool off for longer. It's stuck in range. I don't have much else to say, right? But I favor the bulls. We'll see how it reacts if it ends up pushing over the 0.76. That's going to be telling. FTAI. Yeah, I looked at this. I was like, man, it's pushing up all the way up here. I don't want to bet against a bear. Not a bear trend. I don't want to bet against a bull trend. This is a monthly chart here, by the way. I don't know where it's going to find resistance. It ended up finding resistance here at 3.4 and 4. Great, a random level. Okay, and also got resistance here at the gain angle over here. Okay, where are you going to find support? Well, you're going to find support two places. One is the 0.23, the 2.272 at the bottom of the arc over here. The other one is the 2.618 here on the top of the arc, right? You end up finding support here on both, but you're having a hard time breaking back about 3. And you have a hard time breaking back above the horizontal gain level over here. But this is a higher low. This is a higher low. I don't know whether or not this is like a big giant parabolic bull trend. It just got completely exhausted. It also is holding the 20-month moving average. Now, this is the key here. The key here is if you're able to expand the Bollinger Band again, you can keep going. But the Bollinger Band on the lower side is coming back down. The bull trend is exhausting, right? It's still all the way down here, which means that there's a possibility for it to make yet another higher low, right? But that's going to end up being a very much of an exhausted top, right? Unless it is going to end up expanding Bollinger Band again. I just don't see it having that kind of energy to expand the Bollinger Band here again. I see it possibly, not no guarantee. I see it possibly moving back up here over time and make a little bit of a higher high. And that would be the exhausted top that it gets. But you may not get that top. This could have been it. You might end up making a lower high, and that's it. Either way, I don't find the risk-reward ratio at this particular point to be that great, because the low Bollinger Band is coming back. And because the 20-month moving average is starting to flatten here, right? So we'll see. I want to see how it reacts, and eventually I think the upcoming months is probably going to end up grounding back up to the upper Bollinger Band here, because you bounce from the 20-month moving average. It probably wants to go back to the upper Bollinger Band. We'll see how it reacts there. If it continues to just beast mode, then yeah, the party keeps going. If not, I think that's it. MTPLF. What I mean is in trouble if it tests. I'm going to go back to that and see if I can answer your question. What I mean is in trouble if it tests as if that fib, and if it doesn't push through. I'll show you why. What I mean by that. Because you're gonna, if it doesn't push through, and if the 20-month moving average is already getting tired, if it doesn't push through, it gets rejected. It tries to find a 20-month moving average here again and try to use that as support like it's doing right now. The 20-month moving average is going to become flatter and flatter, and that's going to be at risk for you to have a breakdown. And if you break down underneath the 20-month moving average, then that opens up the possibility of a bear market starting, right? That's why. But it's just kind of my thought. It's like none of these things are like absolute. I just wouldn't find it favorable anymore. MTPLF, Metaplanet. So you're the one who's been asking me about Metaplanet, aren't you? Let's see. SL. I don't have a whole lot of whoa. What the heck happened here? Oh my god. Gap down after gap down after gap down. This is OTC, right? I'm looking at the right thing, right? I think this also doesn't have like a Japanese equivalent or something like that. I don't know. Wow. What do you do with a chart like this? What do you do with a chart like this? If this thing is not going bankrupt, and I don't know anything about this, and this is a daily chart, I don't have a whole lot to chart here, right? There's no trend that I can chart, right, on the monthly and weekly. But if this thing's not going bankrupt, I think you're probably gonna end up making like at least like maybe 5 to 10% gains if you would have bought over here. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about this. Like, this is insane. What's the volume looking like? It's capitulation. If this thing's not going bankrupt, the risk-reward ratio is pretty decent. And that's all I have to say about that. Because if you're talking about retracing at least to the low Bollinger Band here, that's a lot to go. And if you're talking about retracing to like even the 20-day moving average, there's a lot of gains to be made. But that's all I have to say about it. I don't have anything else to say about this. SL, where did that come from? Compass. Now this one has a trend. I can chart this. Okay, I can do this. I like it. For a higher time frame, I like it. I'll tell you why I like it, and I'll tell you why I won't buy here. You are seeing the Bollinger Band here on the monthly, and it's been around for more than 20 months, so you actually have a Bollinger Band and a 20-month moving average. The price has gotten strong enough to push up here to the upper Bollinger Band. Whenever you have price pushing up to the upper Bollinger Band, that's going to be resistance. The Bollinger Band is not squeezing, it's contracting, right? Is contracting because things have done almost nothing here for about 20 months. And the initial trend is down, but it's becoming flatter and flatter. And when you're having a contraction of Bollinger Band and when the 20-month moving average is pointing down, but it's decelerating, that tells you that there's a trend change. You don't have to, I don't have to tell you that. Just look at it. There's a trend change, right? Like, look at this. It went from negative to positive. It's got around the bottom here. I don't want to tell you any of that. But guess what's going to happen next? This might be a little bit more helpful. If you're hitting the upper Bollinger Band here, that's going to be resistance, which means that I wouldn't buy at resistance, which means that I want to wait for it to kind of retrace back maybe to this horizontal zone over here, or even to a 20-month moving average here. If it turns flat, if it backtests this area over here, around 6.5, or whatever that 20-month moving average end up landing and flattening, those would be a great area to buy. I would not buy here. This rounded bottom over here, yeah, that's great. If you recognize this as a rounded bottom, you could have bought there. That's great. Oh, this is a 2-month chart. Let's look at a monthly. Why did it take 2 months? I thought that was monthly. Okay, this gives me a completely different look here. Why did I do that? All right, monthly looks bullish, right? I wouldn't buy here because it's already taken off. The area to buy would have been like over here. You can recognize that the 20-month round was just turning from resistance to support. I think that would have been a good area to buy. But right now, Bollinger Band is expanding. This thing looks like it wants to keep going higher. The question is, are we hitting any potential resistance here? Is pushing through a 0.618? The question is this a false breakout? If I do a linear fib, it got rejected at 0.382. I wouldn't buy resistance. But this is a bull trend. This is definitely a hold. And if you don't mind having some potential short-term pain, because these potential short-term pains can come at resistance, right? And the short-term pain is probably going to be back to 0.236. I don't think it's going to come back to the 20-month moving average. It's a bull trend. It's a hold. I don't even guarantee you that it's going to come back down to 0.236. You can just keep going up higher, higher, and higher, higher as the Bollinger Band continues to expand. I'm not going to buy here because I don't like to chase, but this is a bull trend. Like, this is absolutely beautiful. The tank in the kitchen up here, bullish cross, not overextended. It's going to have some bullish continuation. I think the downside is going to be maybe the zone around 7.5, 0.36 around 6.6. I think it's going to have some further bullish continuation here. Beautiful chart. Beautiful chart, Jen. Sorry about the 2-month thing. I don't know what came over me, but is that it? That's all you guys got? Here, let me refresh the YouTube comments thing, because some people may not request charts here and they end up going to my post and they request it there. And of course, I'm not going to see it because I'm talking to you all right now. So somebody asked about AMD. And then somebody asked another question there. So let's go for AMD. And if there's no other chart requests, I'm going to call it a day. AMD's easy. Super easy. If I have room for a few more hymns. All right. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. It's easy. It wants the cloud. And it wants the 0.5 fib. Oh, sorry, not 0. Well, let me see here. Yeah. It wants the cloud and it wants a 0.5 fib. Done. Been eyeing this. If it breaks below the 0.618, it's going to go to 0.5 in the cloud. It looks like it wants to gravity to the cloud. The entire time it's happening, it's on declining volume. If I turn on the cloud over here, if I do an unbalanced volume, huge diversions. Like, price kept going down, unbalanced volume keep going up. Somebody's buying behind the scene. The only thing is, like, the thing that surprises me is that Fintel didn't really show any buyers. The only thing that surprises me is like, yeah, Fintel didn't really show any buyers, but you have 75% institutional accumulation anyway, you know? Yeah, so Fintel didn't really show any like increase in institutions here. But I think 0.5, I think the cloud, I think somewhere around the mid-90s, and I think that this is building a lot of energy to the upside because of the bullish diversions that have been building on the unbalanced volume here for almost a year. So the lower it goes, the better risk reward ratio. Last time I saw something like this was with Tesla, and Tesla was here when it had that bullish diversions with unbalanced volume going up. Finally had that capitulation, candle over here with unbalanced volume just continue to go up over time, right? Next thing you know, higher high, higher low, and price is a lot higher from there, right? Double the price from what it was right there. So I think the same thing's happened with AMD. That's what I have to say about that. HIMS. What I think about HIMS, I think HIMS is fine. I keep seeing people saying that HIMS is going to hit lower targets. I think some folks are saying that it's going to go lower now that things are plummeting down. But the reality is that this is still a very bullish chart. You look at the monthly, yeah, there's a big giant wick above, but there's all this big giant wick above. It's scary, right? But the trend is still your friend. The trend is still bullish. The lower Bollinger Band is still all the way down. And this is still very much of a parabolic bull trend. You simply just got like 4 or 5 different fit levels above the upper Bollinger Band, right? What do you expect? Did you buy here? I hope not. Like everybody wanted to sell here. Does it mean that you should sell here? Maybe, I don't know. Does it mean that it's going to end up just next one is going to keep on going up higher? I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows the answer to that. It can use some consolidation here, certainly, but it's a bull trend, right? I mean, the Tengen in the Kitchen is pushing price up here. Yeah, it's a bull trend. I don't have anything else to add to that, right? It's just simply got too ambitious here for a few months, right? But it's still end up closing about the 1.618. And it ended up closing underneath the 1.272 because it's simply a little bit too far overextended. These kinds of wicks, like I don't think it's like necessarily like a shooting star kind of thing. These kind of wicks do get people scared. And on a non-parabolic bull trend, sometimes these can be like a topping kind of thing, but it doesn't have to be. Because I've seen a lot of these kinds of like big wick up above on a bull trend that end up not caring, right? I can show you one candle here already over here. It didn't care, right? End up having further bullish continuation. So I wouldn't count on a trend reversal just based on one candle alone. That's all I gotta say about that. Bonjour, margin call. Hi, Jules. Mail everybody. I have one more question to answer. I guess I can do that later. I posted a lot about 2-year and 10-year yield dropping. How does it impact the market? How does the 2-year and 10-year yield dropping impact the market? Huh. Does it? That's a very good point. Does it impact the market? Some people think so. I don't really have any like concrete things because I honestly see the market going up higher when yields are high. I've seen market going down lower when yields are high. I've seen markets going up when yields are low. I've seen market going down when yields are low. As long as it's not extreme, as long as it's a well-controlled kind of thing, I don't think it matters that much, to be honest. And I think that the key thing is not so much looking at yield, but is more looking at global liquidity, right? Because there are actually a period of time in history where Bitcoin actually goes up when yield goes up, and Bitcoin actually goes down when yield goes down, right? So I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with yields per se, but because a lot of people are saying, oh, you need yields to be low before you can really kind of moonshot from there. And if yields are high, you have things are more expensive to borrow, and it's not good, blah, 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 blah. I mean, if you're looking at the 10-year yield, you would imagine, let's see if I can line them up. I hate trading view, like I just have a hard time lining things up, right? And this is weekly and this is monthly. I don't care. I'm just gonna go with that. They line up very well, so I'm just gonna go with it. People think that yields going down is good for the market, right? Because the lower the yield, the better, the more liquidity is being flushed around because it's easier to borrow, right? So the market has been going up for a while on declining yield. This is the 10-year, right? I don't think anybody can really argue that. Yields goes down, market goes up, right? What's happening right now? Well, yields have been going up ever since the ever since the bottom over here around March of 2020, right? Yields have been going up, and markets has been going up, and then it went down. I think it just needs to at some point, like having increased flushing in liquidity is happening during this period of time, and then after that is the liquidity ends up leaving the market, but the yields kept going up, right? So I don't think it has much to do with yields. I think it has to much more to do with liquidity. But I think yields and liquidity kind of ties together. So I think yields are probably like a little bit of a byproduct of global liquidity, or US liquidity, if you can, if I have to put it that way. Because the market doesn't really care about yields up or down. It cares more about global liquidity. I think that's what it really cares about. And I think this is a reflection of the fact that they might want to do more quantitative easing, just simply because you have the Fed basically telling you one thing and then the bond market is telling you another. So I'm just calling BS on other people's thesis that the 10-year and the 2-year has to do certain things, and that you have to listen to the Fed to figure out what the market direction is. The market doesn't care, because the Fed doesn't really start cutting rates until like September 2024, and as soon as they cut, the 10-year went up, right? And the Fed stops cutting, right? Pausing, right? And what happened in February when they paused? The 10-year went down. There's really not much to say about it. All I'm saying is that it's more like a little bit of misdirection. I think I'm just trying to call BS on people. What does matter is if the 10-year or 20-year or 30-year goes down, which I think they will. What I think matters more, if anything, is the mortgage rate. I want the 30-year mortgage to go down. It's been forming higher highs. It's been forming lower high and lower low, and another lower high here. I want it to go down. If it does, then things can get really bullish. That's all I gotta say. Seems like all these layoffs will give the Fed a reason to cut the labor market. Yeah, the Fed. I don't know about like this dual mandate. Yeah, like they care about the labor market. Sure, inflation is like what 3%. Whatever. Like oil is going down. The numbers all fudged anyway. Like I don't like the CPI, PPI. I don't. Those are like horrible economic indicators of what the market is actually doing. Just follow the bond market. Like these bond market folks, they're super smart. They're telling you that the yield's going to go down. They're telling you that there's going to be some financial easing here, and it's going to be easier to get capital because yield's been forming in lower high and lower low. So just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. I did not take a break. I'm so proud of myself. Did a show for about an hour and 45 minutes talking nonstop, because that's just the kind of cat that I am. And I'm having fun doing it. Earlier today, I started doing this like collaboration thing with Danny, just trying to help out a friend. Because it takes him like hours to do a video. It apparently is like it's like a very difficult to do. I don't know why it takes him so long to do a video. Like he did every single time he does a great job, but it's just hard for him to do. So he's like, "Hey man, can you make some videos for me?" We're like, okay. So I end up like just looking for his chart, looking for everything, and I get to use his like proprietary charts. And I made some like members only videos with them about like China stocks and things like that. I might post GME later too. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I just been making. I made like 7 videos for him, 2 of which I released to my members. So check it out if you want to, based on his charts. But yeah, like there are a lot more where that came from. If you want to join his Patreon to like listen to me yap more, if like an hour and 45 minutes is not enough for you, if you want to hear more of that crap, there's more of where that came from. And I think did I make any other like videos for members? I don't remember anymore. Anyway, I'm probably gonna not make any more videos this weekend. I'm probably just gonna hang out on X. So if you guys have any like late requests, I might make another like Sunday late request video to fulfill them. But otherwise, I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna take a break from videos, guys. He is a boomer and asks cat to translate lingo for the 20-year-old Etherdates. But yeah, hey, follow the great Matsby too. Follow Tracker. Tracker, I don't know if you're listening. If you're listening out there, I hope you feel better, because we missed you last Tuesday and I want to see you again this Tuesday. Being with Matt alone is great, but I actually like the trio dynamics more. So, and I think we're gonna resume with the great Matsby, and hopefully Tracker will come back on Tuesday. Earning money while yapping is actually a gold mining business. All right, guys, have a good one. I think people are leaving. Take care. Bye.